What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? All right. A little technical difficulty there. I don't know what I did, but should I restart that over? Critique channel. What is going on? I'm going to say hello to everybody who's jumped into the room. Let me restart that. What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits here on another Wednesday live stream, May 13th, 2026. Glad to have you here. Glad that you stopped by to carve out precious time on your day to listen to what it is I have to say about what's going on in the wonderful world of sports. I got a lot to unpack. I got to make this a hard 2 o'clock because I got the Super coming up. I got some issues in the bathroom, and that has to get taken care of. So right now, let's make sure that I take care of you guys and gals to catch you up on everything that's happening. I got, again, tons to unpack, a lot to get off my chest in the process. And before I even get started, let's get to it. Fishing Angel, so disappointed, she says, in the Pistons. Yeah, we're going to talk about them, but we're also going to talk about the Cavaliers too, so keep that in mind. And good afternoon to you, Fishing Angel, as well as my guy from the West Coast, Bio. I know his Laker flag is at half-mast. But, you know, there's only one team that can win a championship, and I'm going to get to that too. The one team that can beat the Thunder. And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to be the Spurs. It's not even going to be the Knicks. So you're probably thinking, wait, J-Reels, are you serious? The T-Wolves? Oh, well, I'll get to it. I promise. And it's not clickbait. I can also promise you that. And I've been good, Critique. Glad that you're here. Glad you stopped by. Glad that you took out a few precious moments out of your day to get filled in on all that's happening, as well as my guy, Zip Drive. That's a.k.a. James D., by the way, for those who aren't familiar. I'm sure you probably know. By know you know by now. I can't even speak right now because, again, my brain is going at 10,000 miles an hour, and the tongue is going at 100,000 miles an hour. So it's not catching up. The tongue to the head, and I understand that may not sound too good, but you know what I mean. How was the Spurs last night? Yes, I'm going to get to those Spurs who got themselves back on track after Victor Wembanyama was ejected there 2 nights prior against the T-Wolves, and now that the Spurs are up 3-2, what do they have? 27-17. How many blocks? I think 3 blocks. Had a monster game, which you would have expected from Wembanyama, considering that he had exited stage left on Sunday night. But for those, of course, you know the deal. As my regulars, they always share their thoughts. I'll post them up on screen. And for those watching the replay, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll follow up, even though you're not on with us live, correct, direct, and in full effect. So you know what? Critique, I'm going to start there. Why did the period end up here at the bottom? All right. Well, anyway, the Spurs rebounded last night. Left no doubt to take control of the series. I understand it's going back to Minnesota, and you would think that Minnesota is going to have one roundhouse right to connect at the Spurs to push this to a Game 7. And let me tell you something. I'll start off by saying this. The league needs this. The league needs one Game 7 at least. You could get 2. I think you're going to get 1 for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if you get 2. But for San Antonio, that was a must-win for them in my eyes because this is a team, as you saw there Sunday night, showed a little bit of immaturity. Victor Wembanyama not knowing the rules, saying that, wait, what does that mean? A flagrant 2? I mean, come on. Did the coaches or did anybody clue you in? Maybe not at that moment, but I'm sure 3 years in the league, you know what a flagrant 2 means. I mean, out of here. But with that, and then he also had an 8-point lead there in the fourth quarter in game 4, and they squandered it thanks to Anthony Edwards and his heroics. But that was a big game for them last night because we wanted to see whether or not Wembanyama was going to have a little eye of the tiger on top of maybe just kind of dust themselves off after what had transpired in game 4. And here they are now, just one game away from advancing to the matchup that I think everybody wants to see. Western Conference Finals, OKC versus San Antonio. But I think Anthony Edwards, they probably have one more crack. Obviously, they're going to need 2 to advance, but they definitely have one more crack to see if they can draw even, push the series back to San Antonio. And do I think they're going to do that? To me, I want to say yes, but I wonder if this Spur team, if they realize and recognize to know that no fooling around, similar to what I talked about on Monday's podcast with the Pistons. And if they lose a game 6 on the road, it's not the end of the world, but you would like to see a young team on the road, which you did see, I understand, in game 3. But now that it's game 6, and I understand there's no pressure on the Spurs to win this game, but I would almost like to see, maybe the Spurs come out with the, 111, 105 type game where it was tooth and nail back and forth. The next thing you know, Wembanyama, his presence is felt. Stephon Castle, obviously doing what he does on the defensive end as well as maybe making big shots. And that's what I don't want to say I want to see. I want to see a 7th game, but I would not be surprised if that happens. But I think there's going to be a 7th game. I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to go out like that, although I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not 100% confident that the T-Wolves will go ahead and win a game 6 to force a game 7. But bottom line is that if Wembanyama and that young Spurs core, if they learned anything about what happened there on Sunday night, combine that with what they did last night, I understand, albeit at home, but I would not be surprised in the least if they win that game tomorrow night. So that is number 1. Second thing I want to get to is Cavs Pistons is now best of 3. And I know on Monday's podcast, I talked a lot about how the Pistons, to me, I wanted them to show me that, hey, we're going to go in there, we're going to win a game number 4 so we can try to close this series out at home in game 5. They didn't do that. They had that terrible end of first half. Well, really, let's go to the third quarter because they let the Cavaliers go 24-0, a run that was historic there for the Cavaliers, and were unable to get their bearings after that. The Pistons, the Cavs behind the 39-point performance of Donovan Mitchell, and for him to, and that actually tied an NBA playoff record. When you think about all the players in the history of the sport, that Donovan Mitchell tied, and Sleepy Floyd of all players, the former Georgetown guard. But now you have a scenario where, okay, home court has been served. We don't have to now worry about those first 4 games. Now we're going to look at these next 3 games. And now, to me, the scene shifts to Detroit. I think Detroit's going to do what they've done for the most part throughout this postseason. I understand they had that hiccup there in the middle of the series against Orlando. But now, let's see Donovan Mitchell deliver, and James Harden, but I don't trust him, and I'd rather not even go there with him right now, although he will be a focal point, more so I think in game 6 than he would be tonight, although tonight is big too. But Donovan Mitchell, for all that he's done, and yes, the 39-point performance there in the second half 2 nights ago, or other playoff moments that he's had prior to that, he has not gone out of the second round. Cleveland has not won on the road yet. And what's going to make me think that if Cleveland loses tonight, and let's say they win game 6, why am I going to think they're going to win game 7? So to me, it's all on Cleveland tonight. They cannot look and think that, all right, well, if we lose tonight, we'll go back home and we'll bring it back to a game 7. They can't have that mentality. Similar to the mentality that I thought that the Pistons would handle business there in game 4, and they did not. And that's not to say that Kenny Atkinson, the coach, is trying to hammer that home. Maybe he is, to think that, hey, guys, win tonight, and we may not have to come back here. But we got to see how Donovan Mitchell is going to perform here tonight on whether or not, yeah, he may score 30 points, but is he going to do it on 26, 27 shots? That's not a good performance, especially from an efficient standpoint. So to me, the bullseye is going to be on first and foremost, James Harden to a lesser degree. But again, if James Harden goes 3 for 8 and has 6 points, 7 assists, he's going to get slaughtered, but he's low-hanging fruit. Donovan Mitchell, remember years ago inside the NBA after one of the postseason games where Shaq actually showed him and challenged him to say, hey, don't you know you have to step up? And Donovan Mitchell had that blank face, and he responded and goes, yeah, well, that's what I do, or whatever it was. I forgot what he had said, and I'm sure it may be in the comments. But, yeah, now he's got to really elevate. He's got to really raise his game to just even at least have an opportunity to be there fourth quarter or late in the game, come through in the clutch, and maybe somehow, some way steal a game in Detroit and then possibly close out the series there on Friday night. How I look at it is, to me, it's going to be another home court series. Why would I think anything different? Would I be surprised if Cleveland wins tonight in Detroit? I have to say yes, because I haven't seen it otherwise. They can't win in Toronto. They haven't won in Detroit. What makes me think that all of a sudden, oh, no, the tide's going to turn here? Not at all. So that's how I feel about that. And even if the Pistons win tonight, I don't have the belief that they're going to win a Game 6 in Cleveland because, like I said, it's been a home court series for Cleveland dating back to the previous series. But they'll win a Game 7, and that will be Sunday night, which would mean that the Knicks will have 9 days off. 9. Because Game 1 will be Tuesday night. And I'm sure, as I mentioned earlier, Adam Silver and the NBA, they are praying for 2 Game 7s. Because that means they're going to have basketball from now through the weekend. Because, of course, you'll have the Game 5 tonight, Game 6 Saturday, Game 6 Friday, and then Sunday for Detroit and Cleveland. And then you'll have a Game 6 tomorrow in Minnesota. And if the T-Wolves win that, you'll have a Game 7 Saturday. So he wants basketball straight through. And then Monday will be OKC hosting either San Antonio or the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then the same will be said Tuesday, whether it's Detroit, Cleveland, either Cleveland at the Knicks or the Knicks in Detroit, which leads to this. They're on standby. And we know what OKC did Monday night, and we could talk about it all we want. The Thunder now have swept through the first 2 rounds. I get it. Phoenix was a play-in scenario, 7 seed, probably didn't even belong in the postseason. And then the Lakers obviously compromised. No Luka. Austin Reeves came back, maybe not 100%, and you couldn't put all this on LeBron James. So for the Thunder, I mean, listen, they've been tremendous. Defending champ, defending MVP or reigning MVP, and chances are you may have SGA win another MVP this year, which could also lead to possibly another title. And then here in New York, everybody's going crazy, especially the 18 to 30-year-old. I mean, they can't get enough of what's happening with the Knicks there. And that 9-day layoff could be big if it so happens that this Cavs Pistons series goes 7 games. Now, I will say this. If it does end sooner, and I would think the Knicks fan will want it to end sooner, because let's just say Friday, the Pistons, they win tonight and they win in Cleveland. Game 1 will be Sunday, which is a quick turnaround, because you know they're going to want to get that Sunday game in there. They're not going to wait till Tuesday to start the conference finals. And then what they'll do is they'll stagger it. Now, it could be a scenario where, let's say if the T-Wolves do not win there tomorrow night and the Spurs win, you may see Game 1 Saturday between Spurs and Thunder. And then obviously they'll spread it out because they want to spread out the schedule. They'd rather have the 2-7 games so they could start the Western Conference Finals first, Eastern Conference Finals next, and then go into the weekend where if they started a day or 2 prior, it may be a scenario where they're going to have to stretch out the games because they want to have games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Obviously, those 4 days, 4 games, 2 for each conference, because it's a holiday weekend. It's something to look forward to. Obviously, barbecues, things of that nature, the 8:30 start, you want to see that. But obviously, we have to wait and see how it's going to shake down. But for the Knicks, I know their fans are over the moon. You would think they won 4 NBA championships. People getting at me. It's like, oh, let us have our fun. Fun? You guys haven't won anything. What do you mean fun? Fun? You want to get to the final and celebrate that? All right, so that means you're at least going to have an Eastern Conference championship banner raised to the Garden Rafters. All right, but even then, I don't celebrate that. No way. I get it. The Knicks fan has been out in the desert long enough, dying of thirst, crawling, scratching, trying to find that ounce of water. Cheers, H2O. And even in the process of doing that they've had a couple of sips, and now they want quarts, they want gallons. I get that. But you know what? You've gone to another Eastern Conference final. That's it. They're not going to put a banner up for that. And I understand you're ecstatic. I understand that you're just out of your gourd with excitement. But you got to temper it a little bit. Because one more time, what have you won? Actually, what have you done? Nothing. In my eyes. And you could say, oh, please, Jay doesn't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, I do. For this reason. As I've said a million times over, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got the ring. And I understand that you're on a nice ride here. You've won 7 in a row. Knicks fans crazy. But nothing. You just advanced to the next round. One round close to a final, but still far from a final. Now, let's get to this. We all know that they're the team to beat. We all know that with everything that's transpired with this team, even the organization over the last few years, and here they are. Haven't been spectacular, especially in this series against the Lakers. I mean, obviously they won convincingly in all their games, although the final game was a little dicey for them because the Lakers had a lead in the fourth quarter, but their resolve, their grit, and yeah, I understand they had to survive an Austin Reeves 3, which would have tied the game there in the final seconds, but the Thunder have barely even broken a sweat. And I understand it's going to get stiffer. Now, you'd rather see San Antonio OKC in the conference final than Minnesota. And that's no knock on Anthony Edwards, Chris Finch, the coach, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Julius Randle. I go on down the list. But everybody's waiting for that series. And all I know is that if we don't get that, it's going to be a major disappointment because OKC may not even break a sweat. But the Thunder know that with everything that happened in the regular season against the Spurs team, albeit in the first half of the year, and I'm sure they're going to want to get back at them knowing that the Spurs have had their number this past season. But who could dethrone the champ? That's the big question. And I got news for you. It's a very simple answer. It's not the Spurs. Can the Spurs beat them? Of course. They can. But I think their inexperience, immaturity to a certain degree, I don't know if they're going to be able to do a 180 between now and when that series begins because the Spurs are a team that's certainly on the come up, and hopefully this will be the next great rivalry. And this is one that I'm sure could go a long way. Maybe a 7-game series. And I don't even want to start being prognosticating or being a prognosticator to that series because it hasn't happened yet. The Spurs can beat them. I don't think they will. The T-Wolves, not a chance. In the East, could it be the Pistons? Could it be the Knicks? Could it be the Cavs? Cavs? Pistons? Maybe. But I don't believe in them. And based on what you've seen here this postseason, I'm sure they're going to be competitive. I'm sure it's going to be physical. Both teams have that. Not that the Thunder aren't as physical as the Pistons, but then again, we haven't really seen a lot of that where it's been real chippy. And who knows, if they do meet in an NBA Finals, it could possibly be that way. But I don't think they have enough. And the Knicks, I get it. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Deuce McBride, now all of a sudden looking like Ray Allen. Although that's, please, if Knicks fans going to hang their head on Deuce McBride trying to win games, we got to see about OG Anunoby, who right now I'm sure is just kicking back, trying to get that hamstring close to 100%. But not even the Knicks. That's right, I said it. Not even the Knicks. Can they beat them? They can, but they're not going to beat Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. So right now, the only team that could beat, and you're doing process of elimination with Jay Reels, you just went through all the teams. So what are you talking about? Who's gonna dethrone the champ? The only team that's going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because think about it. They have size, they have scoring, they had depth, which a lot of teams don't have. And Mike Brown could throw out all the different combinations. Oh, I'm bringing out Landry Shamet. Oh, I'm going to bring out whomever it is off that bench. Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, we could go deep. How about the Thunder? AJ Mitchell, who's filled in for Jalen Williams as if he hasn't even missed a beat. You have Jared McCain, who they got from the Sixers. And listen, I'm not trying to make him out to be Vinnie Johnson, but that's a guy that they didn't have that they could count on for reliable minutes and for some scoring. And we know how they are defensively. Chet Holmgren in the middle, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. And I get it, they foul bait and they have all the NBA fans pulling their hair out of their heads, but they're a highly disciplined team. They're well coached. They're not the type of team that are going to throw the ball over the lot, turn the ball over, make stupid plays. Everybody takes dumb shots every now and again. Understand that. But that team is a machine. They are. And yes, are they invincible? Are they unbeatable? They are not. But when you have a team that doesn't beat themselves, do I need to bring up the Boston Celtics? Let's live and die by the three. No, we're just going to keep shooting threes. Keep shooting threes. We're not going to change our game. We're not going to tweak it here, tweak it there. We're just going to keep shooting threes. If they go in, we win. If they do not, we lose. That's not smart basketball. It's not. I don't care if you have 12 Larry Birds on your team. You can't take a majority of shots as three-pointers. And this is why the Thunder are where they are right now. And I get it. Last year they were on the ropes. I understand last year was have to do with this year. Denver in the second round, and the Pacers pushed them to a seventh game. And if Halliburton didn't get hurt, who knows how that would have ended for the Thunder. But right now they're on a roll. They're unstoppable. Yes, we could talk about the competition, but I got to say, this team, the Thunder, is the only team that could beat the Thunder. That's it. That's not to say the other teams have no shot. But if you ask me right now, the Thunder are the only team that's going to be able to beat them. All right, now I got to bring this up. And I'm sure my guy Bio is going to have a thing or two to say about this. We know the answer to this, or do we? Now, it's easy to say that with him being a free agent, and I believe Rob Pelinka in his press conference said that he want him back. And of course, he's going to say that. He's going to say, no, we don't want LeBron back. I mean, please. So the bottom line is this. With LeBron playing his last game, which I don't think that's the case, I'd be shocked, quite honestly. His son's on the team. Excuse me. I'm sure he wants to stay in LA. Where's he going to go now? He's going to go back to Cleveland. If the Knicks don't win a title, he's going to play at Madison Square Garden. Is he going to the Spurs? He's not going there. Is he going to Dallas? Come on. Seriously? To me, the one stickling point, and I get it, you're in the league a finite amount of time, unless your name is LeBron James, who just finished his 23rd season in the sport. And he's made $1 zillion. I would think LeBron, and I understand, he shouldn't take a penny less. I get it. But by all means necessary. Genie Bus did it for Kobe. Gave him that 2-year extension, $48 million, but that's Kobe Bryant. All-time Laker, lifelong Laker, etc. LeBron, as we all know, granted that he's actually played in this uniform for one stint longer than any team. First 7 years in Cleveland, the 4 in Miami, 4 back in Cleveland, and then 8 here with the Lakers. But there's no way that he has to come. There's no way that he comes back at the price tag of anywhere north of $50 million or even $40 million for that. I'm not trying to say he's got to get the league minimum or the mid-level exception, whatever that may be for them. But there is no way that you could bring LeBron back with a slightly or even close to a hefty price tag. And even LeBron at his age of 41, I'm sure he has to understand that. And he could talk about, oh, well, hey, this is my last year. I want to make whatever, 58, 60 million. LeBron, you have enough money that your grandkids won't be able to spend. And who am I to tell them what to do as far as getting a contract, whatever? But if it's all about winning a title, if you knew LeBron right now, and I'm sure he does, we know his basketball IQ. If they told him, hey, LeBron, we're going to give you $20 million, and maybe that's still a lot, but we know he's still productive. But we want to allocate the rest of our cap. They got to sign Austin Reeves, number one. And who knows what other free agents that are out there that are going to come to be a part of this team to bring the Lakers back to championship prominence. And I'm sure LeBron has to realize that, you know what, hey, if this is going to be my last year, I'm going to take a big pay cut. And let's bring on anybody and everybody. And let's see if we can try to go out one more year and get a title. If you're LeBron James, that's the goal. The ego has to be put aside. If you want to win that championship or you want to make $60 million, which one is more important to you? So I don't think he's going to leave. Again, I'd be shocked. I mean, what more can you say about his career? I mean, there's nothing more else you could add. But if Rob Pelinka, I got news for you, and this is a memo to him. I get LeBron is still box office, even at his stage of his career. But you got to be smart. You can't just think that you're going to run it back with these same people, and then you got to pay Austin Reeves, which I don't know, he's probably not going to get the Supermax, but he's not going to come cheap. And there's no way that you could bring LeBron back at whatever the price tag that he wants and think that your team is going to get to a next level, or in this case, in Lakerland, it's going to be a championship. It's not. And that's not going on a limb. That's not anything that, I mean, you guys and gals know. I mean, please. I don't have to tell you that. But for those out there that think that, oh, LeBron, even though at 41 years of age, he's still better than, as crazy as it is to say, but it's true, he's better than half the players in the league. But even then, he'll be 42 next year. I mean, how much more can you expect? That fruit, the juice is just about squeezed out. And I'm sure there's still a little bit more left, but there's not a lot left. And if you're Rob Pelinka and you think that, oh, I'm going to have to pay him $40 million, what are we going to do? No, you don't have to. There's no gun to your head. It's a business. Kobe was one thing. Coming off the Achilles and everything. I believe he signed that those last 2 years. What was that, 15, 16? No, 14, 15, 15, 16. He blew it out in 13. They said, I don't care. We don't care. Kobe's a deity in LA. May he rest in peace. LeBron, he's a Laker, but he's not a Laker. He's not Kareem. He's not Magic. He's not Jerry West. He's not Elgin Baylor. No. There's a lot of people think he's not even Shaq when it comes to all-time Lakers. So that's what we got there. Now, before I move on, let me get to some comments here. What do we have? Critique. Hey, Holly Stander. Hello. I don't know if you're still with us. I hope you are. That was 21 minutes ago. Yes, Wemby is a beast. No ifs, ands, buts, maybes about that, Zip. And yes, he can, without question. Next with the spirits of Willis. Hey, that's it. And listen, I'm not tweaking you there, Zip. It's the 18 to 30-year-old Knick fan. It's the one that if you bring up Marvin Webster or Rory Sparrow or I'm going back to the 80s. I could go even further back. Jerry Lucas and Dean Meminger. And please, they couldn't pick those guys out of a lineup. I could go, 90s Knicks? Oh, 90s Knicks are easy. You know, if I'm going to say, Anthony Mason, I mean, I'm sure they would know who those guys are. I would hope, rest in peace, Anthony Mason. But Val, yes, they did, beating the Dodgers. And yes, the Mets did win. Shout out to A.J. Ewing, getting on base, what was it, 4 times? No, 3 times, I think, with a triple in his first RBI. I mean, the Mets are bringing up A.J. Ewing to try to, not that he's a savior, but, the Mets. I know Tigers didn't win yesterday, but Mets won. I know. And J-Rod, Tiger fan that he is, as well as the Piston fan, which I wonder if he's going to go to the game tonight. He did make a mention of that to me last week sometime. So Who knows? For all I know, maybe he's on his way out there. Yeah, for now. Now, we know what series lies ahead for the Mets. I'll get to them later on. But they have 2 more games with the Tigers, and then this weekend, I'll get to that. All right, let me put on my skates. NHL real quick. The Sabres, who were down 2-1, they were outscored 11-3 in the games 2 and 3. Last night won an enormous game, and it actually showed you a bit of the resolve that they had, and was even questionable only because we have not seen the Sabres under any pressure at any point of this postseason. And with a Game 4 Montreal last night, and the Canadiens jumped out to an early lead, and then their power play, which we know has been mostly inept, although it woke up in Game 1, but they got a power play goal there early from Zach Benson, and then Tage Thompson on a double minor power play got a fluke gift from the hockey gods as he tried to dump the puck in, hit off the corner board or the sideboard, and then right through Dobish, the goalie, to where they took a 3-2 lead, and they ended up winning 4-2 for the Canadiens. I believe it was the final. I should know that by now off the top of my head. And for the Sabres, you got to wonder whether or not this is, I don't want to say a turning point. It's a little bit too strong. But you have to wonder whether or not that this was the moment that they know that maybe luck is on their side. Because although that's not the old Montreal Forum of yesteryear, but that still is a very hallowed ground, or I don't want to say ground, that's too strong. But we know how enormous hockey is in Montreal. And yes, we can say for Canada too. No, they won 3-2. I said 4-2. My bad. I thought they attacked on an empty netter. They did not. In fact, Tage Thompson, that goal was the game winner. But for the Sabres, and I know their goalie played great after a tough start, but now let's see if Buffalo could now go home, take care of their home ice, and maybe this goes 7 games. And we talk about the NHL needing some 7th games, and when you look at the landscape, and I'll get to it a little bit in a minute, but you have this series, Vegas and Anaheim. It's just a shame that they're not on opposite nights because they both play on the same night. And last night with Pavel, I've butchered his name, Dorovsky, I believe, that's something along those lines. He got the overtime goal, got 2 goals there in the game yesterday. As now that's going to go back to Anaheim with the Golden Knights up 3-2. We already know about Carolina and what they've done to this point. And Colorado is going to dust off Minnesota, at least I would think, with a Game 5 in their building tonight. So I'm sure Gary Bettman, they want to have one of these games and hopefully both get to a Game 7. And if that's the case, then at least that leads you in a little bit similar. Because remember, you have both of those games last night, or both of those series last night. They're going to play tomorrow night, where Minnesota, Colorado is the only game in town tonight, and that could be over, so we think. And the NHL second round is kind of, it's falling flat a little bit. So that's your deal with the NHL. And you know what? I forgot a couple of notes in the NBA that I want to get to. Yeah, here's the Ducks. Up 3-2. I think the Ducks will be heard from. I could see that going 7 games. That's been a back and forth, just a hellacious series, overtimes, and it's been a great series. It's just too bad it's on the West Coast because by the time the game starts, I mean, you get ready to go to bed. And the Avalanches we talked about there a minute ago. And I'll get to that next question in a moment. You know what? Let me get to that now, and I'll have to rewind a little bit because there's a couple of NBA notes that I forgot that I want to touch on. Almost similar, to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but who's beating the Hurricanes? Now, the thing is, there's a team in the Western Conference that can beat the Hurricanes and actually have the best record in the sport, that being Colorado. But this is the Canes' time. If they don't get to a cup final this year, when will they ever? They've pulled the Thunder, sweeping the first 2 rounds, took care of Ottawa, took care of Philly. Buffalo, Montreal, we'll wait and see what's going to happen there. But if they can't and do not get to a final, there needs to be an investigation. It's all there is to it. Now, if they do play Colorado's going to be favored. That core, they know how to win. The Nathan McKinnons, the Cale Makars, that head coach, Jared Bednar. Can't forget Gabriel Landeskog. I mean, those guys, they won a cup, albeit 4 years ago, but pretty much the makeup of that team, Devin Tays, they're still on that squad. They know what it takes to win. And Carolina, now in the conference final for the third time in the last 4 years, this is now their time to take that next step. And if they don't, I don't even know what to say. Again, there'll have to be a 48 hours Dateline investigation to find out why they were unable to beat Buffalo Montreal. And I'm not trying to diminish what they've done and the type of years that they've had, but Carolina's been a 1 seed and been in front all year for a reason. And now all of a sudden they're going to go belly up. Maybe if this series goes 7, a little rust, and they get picked off in game 1, and maybe they don't get their bearings, it may go 6 games, maybe 7. Who knows? But obviously, once Buffalo Montreal's done, we'll unpack that series and get into it at that time. I see Val. Oh, here we go. No surprise there. I figured Bio was going to say that, and I'm with you 100%. Listen, if he's going to come back at a reasonable price, I'd say why not? And how Rob Pelinka is going to fill out the rest of that team, important. And as I mentioned the other day about Luka, I mean, here's a guy that came in tip-top shape, was on the cover of Men's Health, was on the Today Show talking about his transformation, whatever, and what did that get him? I mean, a bad hammy. You haven't seen him since April Fool's Day. And you're not going to see him until next year. So I don't know what to tell you with Luka. Why aren't Dodgers playing well recently? Today, not good. No, I got you, Val. To answer that, and I'm sure Bio can answer that a lot better than I can because he's following them more on a day-in, day-out basis. But from afar, I just think the Dodgers, I want to say it's somewhat of a turn the switch on mentality. I mean, this team, they started off 15-4. And since then, I think their record is 9-14. No, I take that back. It was 9-11, I think, or something. Let me make sure I get my math correct. I do not want to talk out of school. Standings. They started 15-4, and now they're 24-18, so that may be right. Yeah, they're 9-14. And I get it. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. This isn't a situation where, despite them retooling, reloading, etc., that, yeah, it's easy to say that, oh, they're going to win 110 games, blah, 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 whatever. And right now, they're looking like to be a team on pace of last year. Now, again, maybe it's because they know it's a long season, that they're going to be there. And it's not to say that they're purposely not trying to play well. But I almost get the feeling that once they got that hot start, and yet they've had some injuries. I know Mookie Betts just came back, and Blake Snell came back from the IL in his first start the other day. And it's going to be a lot of a revolving door, especially with the rotation. Because, Glasnow's going to be out. Snell's going to get back on the IL. I'm sure, I hate to say it, but maybe Yamamoto, Edwin Diaz hasn't been there to close games. So, but the thing is that as long as everybody's healthy by October 1st, that's when the Dodger season begins. I'm not worried about how poorly they're playing. Now, listen, they're under 500 now. I'd say, what the hell's going on? And yes, there's still cause for concern considering of their hot start and how they played here in the last 23 games to think that, wait a minute, this team has almost, a $400 million payroll. And even if you include the contracts that are deferred, and I know you can't because that's how they're able to get around it, but their payroll will be about $550 million. But you know what? As a guy that's from afar, I'm not going to kill the Dodgers. Oh, how come they're playing terribly? Blah, blah. We kind of saw this last year. Remember, they went in as a wild card. They didn't have a bye last year. That was Brewers and Phillies. And they still won a World Series. Albeit by the hairs of their chinny chin chin. Down 3-2, having to win 2 games at Toronto. We know how game 7 unfolded. But I, in the least, not worried about this team. Why they're playing poor? I would think chances are they're not hitting. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I know last time was 6-2 they lost. Yeah, 6-2. And it probably didn't hit. You don't hit anything when your offense is anemic like that. So, and Adrian Hauser, I mean, his guy was on the Mets and couldn't wait to curse the Mets when they released him. You know, and Yamamoto didn't pitch, 6 hits, 6 in the third, 5 runs. It's not good. And when I take a look at their lineup, let me see. I know Paez obviously had a monster year. I mean, look at these averages. Ohtani's batting 240. I mean, not that Ohtani's a 330 hitter, but and Mookie Betts just came back, so I'm not going to get on him. Kyle Tucker, we know he's not worth $60 million a year, 253. I mean, it's a team that I certainly would not worry about in the least. But I hear you, Val. And who knows? Win one more game, you win the series. Valkyrie 7 today. Oh, you got a double dip there with both the Valkyries and the. Oh, is that? And Brian, where have you been? I actually thought about him the other day, wondering what's going on. And I know Toronto, now that I think about it, clean house. You know that they got a new GM in there. They fired Craig Berube today, my guy, which is no surprise. New GM, they're going to get a new coach. They got the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft, which I'm sure they're going to draft Gavin McKenna. But shout out to Brent. I hope you're well. I got to be in touch. Yes. Phillies beat the Red Sox 2-1 behind Kyle Schwarber. 17 home runs now for the left-handed slugger. Let me go back. Now, the other things I wanted to talk about real quick before I move on. Yeah, I'm going to get to that next. NBA, rough day for the league yesterday. When you think about what had transpired between the death of Brandon Clark, found dead, California, overdose, 29 years of age, good player, good two-way player, and terrible story. Then you find out about Jason Collins, the former big man who was battling brain cancer, stage 4. I believe had a tumor removed, but still to recover from that. 47 years of age. I mean, yeah. Just terrible. Terrible stories. And then on top of that, Daryl Morey gets let go. I'm sure the Sixer fan was rejoicing up and down the streets of Philadelphia. And I talked about it on Monday, how between what had transpired over the weekend, Knick fans flocking into Philly, embarrassing them on a Mother's Day massacre, and it was inevitable that he had to be the one to go. Nick Nurse is going to stay. And I like Nurse, and it's not all on him, but we talk about some of these moves. You trade for James Harden, and he was there for a hot cup of coffee. He leaves. Then you bring in Paul George for that amount of money for a guy that in big spots never delivers. They gave Embiid an extension, which I understand they had to do, but did they really have to do it? But you understand what I mean? So they owe him $197 million over the next 3 years. Do the math. Brutal. And therefore, he gets chopped. But thoughts, prayers, condolences go out to the Collins family, to the Clark family, NBA, the teams that they played for, especially Clark with the Grizzlies. Collins, we know, was also an assistant coach. Just awful stories. All right. Let me get to your comments here. Let's see. Yes. Maple Leafs did fire Berube. My guy. I'm good, I guess. What do you mean you guess, Fishing Angel? Are you okay? Everything all right? What's happening? I hope you're well. And hubby. All right, let's go here. Because I thought about this, and it made me contemplate for a second. Has baseball faded a little bit? Has it now, like, it's in the clouds to where it's a little bit lost in the sauce? And I understand with the NBA, Stanley Cup playoffs, now you have the schedule that's going to be released tomorrow, and the international games came out. Do I really need to go through the list of those games? Steelers are actually one of the teams that are going to be playing overseas. Back-to-back years, I might add. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But these last couple of weeks, and you know how much I pounded the American League, although it's gotten a little bit better, baseball is rather silent. And I'm sure partly because of what Val brought up, Dodgers not playing well. Mets have been a laughingstock. I know the Rays have been well beyond anybody's expectations, but nobody's getting wrapped up in Ray baseball outside of the Tampa St. Pete area. I understand that the NL Central, very competitive. Excuse me, one more time. I actually ate. This is what happens when you eat beforehand. I had to eat only because, like I told you, the Super's coming up at 2 o'clock, so it's repeating. I had oatmeal. I know, too much information, but yeah, when you take a look at what else is happening in the sport, the NL Central, very competitive, not a team under 500, but at the same time, it's the NL Central. Nobody's wrapped up in the Pirates. Nobody's wrapped up in the Reds, the Cardinals, the Cubs, because the Cubs are a national team. That I'll give you. And the Brewers, we all understand last year, 97 wins, most wins in the sport. And what happened? They got embarrassed in the NLCS. So nobody's zeroing in on the Brewers, despite them winning 5 in a row. And, of course, they swept the Yankees over the weekend. And I get it, the Braves. The Phillies have played a lot better. That I'll give up. But anybody into Atlanta baseball right now? No. And although there are some very good stories in the sport, when it comes to the Rays in particular, the teams that are in the NL Central, you like what the Padres have done, considering a lot of people thought that they were going to be, and who knows, it's still way too early. And, you know, now that I think about it, when did the Padres and Dodgers play? Let's take a look at that. Their first series, this coming Monday. And do they play soon thereafter? No, in fact, they don't play till the following month. Interesting. So they meet up on Monday after a series in Seattle over the weekend. So that's one that, you know, we'll focus in on. But I think baseball right now has it's faded a little bit. And right, we don't expect it just to ride out into June, July. We're going to follow it. You know, I'm going to be on top of it day in, day out. But considering the WBC and how popular and wildly successful that was, the start of the regular season, I know you had the travesty there with the Netflix game with the Yankees and Giants, but you've had a lot of interesting storylines. You've had a lot of things happen in that first month, and now it's started to cool off a bit. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not it's going to pick up again and take off, which I hope it does. But that's the baseball season. We all know it's a marathon. There's still most teams have played, or all teams have played more than a quarter of the season when you think about it, which is almost hard to imagine that more than 25% of the season is already in the books. But that's baseball. You hope that you'll get some moments in between. I know Paul Skeens almost was throwing a no-hitter against Colorado yesterday, and Skeens is a star. We all know that. Borderline superstar pitcher, and he's on his way if he's not there already. But again, right now the sport is almost in a holding pattern. You watch, you pay attention, but it's not like, oh, did you see this game? Oh, did you hear what happened there? Oh, no, not in the least. Here we go. Tigers. Well, they don't have Scooble number 1. Wait a second. I got to go back to this. I'm good. Just got bad health news. Are you okay, Missing Angel? I mean, listen, I understand if it's too personal, you have to share here, but I just hope you're okay. We send you well wishes, good wishes here from the Bronx, and I'm sure reverberating from Pacific Grove and LA back to you. But the Tigers, the Tigers, obviously they don't have their horse. They are a team that is pretty much just going to tread water until he gets back, because the Central, I know the Guardians are in first place right now, but we would think that, what are they, a game and a half ahead of them off the top of my head? I'm certainly not going to look at it as, sky's falling, the Tigers, they're not going to do anything. No, they're 3 back, but 2 in the loss. Yeah, that division's up for grabs. And once Scuba comes back in August, and if you continue to tread water, you'll be right there at the end. But it's probably going to be for division. It's not going to be a situation where, well, who knows? The American League is so screwed up that if the season ended today, you have Yankees, Rays, Guardians, White Sox, and then Athletics, Mariners. Those would be your playoff teams. Oh, my God. How brutal is that? And you know what the beauty of that is? The Yankees will actually be a wild card team, but they have the second best record in the American League. But anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. But no, the Tigers, they're just kind of going through it. And obviously wildly inconsistent, but there's still plenty of baseball to be played. So glad he's kind of in. Not sure he's going to be on a podcast. Yours soon. Haven't seen him in a while. All right. Well, that's good that he commented. Mets win the series. Well, they win tonight. They will. So, 49ers, Australia. I'm going to get to that in a moment. Nice. 22. What was I doing when I was 22? It was 1991. And in fact, that birthday, 1991, that was on an Easter Sunday. Wait, let me make sure I got that right. I think it was every 11 years. Hold on. 2022, 2013, 2024. Yeah, that 91 was when I turned 22. That was on Easter Sunday. Many moons ago. But Val, we'll be waiting to wish you happy birthday when the time comes. So now let me get to a few other things. I know I didn't put a graphic for this, but I'll just get right to it. So the NBA, the NFL, the international games that come out on top of some of the matchups, whether it's the Sunday night matchup, Cowboys-Giants week 1, the Monday night matchup, Broncos-Chiefs week 1. Who knows if Mahomes are going to be back? I know he's going to work like hell to get back there for week 1 there, and that'll be on ESPN. We don't know who Seattle's playing as of yet in the opener. People are thinking maybe New England because the AFC East plays that extra game because the NFC has the extra game this year with the unbalanced schedule. People are thinking New England, Seattle, a rematch of the Super Bowl. Don't do that. I would not want to see that in the least. In fact, if we recall, after Super Bowl 50, which 10 years ago, you had the Carolina-Denver Super Bowl, and then the week 1 game in Denver was Carolina-Denver. We don't need to see another Super Bowl rematch. At least I don't. Chances are it's probably going to be, and I took a look at their opponents, and it could be quite a few, but I think the Bears, they may want to save that game. I understand that too, because then you have, I believe, the NFC West. So I think you're going to have, if I'm not mistaken, you may have I don't know if it's the Broncos going there. I got to double check there, but I know the Bears are one of the teams, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bears there. Based on what we saw last year, made it to the playoffs, got to the second round. So, but the international games came out, and they have a record, count them, 9. That's just painful. 9 games. We don't know about the Australia game. And as I'm looking it up here, The Australia game there in Melbourne, September 10th. 17 days later, you have Baltimore at Dallas, which is not in Dallas. It's going to be in Rio. First game in Rio de Janeiro. Then you have your London games, October 4th, 11th, 18th. The first one is Colts and Commanders. Put me to sleep. Second one is Eagles to Danavis and Jaguars. All right. And then you have Texans at Jaguars because, the Jaguars have to have both of those games there. And just when you thought that they were done, they're just getting warmed up. Steelers at Saints in Paris, the first ever game in Paris. Bengals at Falcons. Oh, that's October 25th, I might add. November the 8th, Bengals at Falcons in Madrid. Didn't they play in Madrid last year? I want to say they did. Maybe they didn't. Munich, Patriots at Lions, and then Mexico City, which thankfully, although it's international, it's obviously not on U.S. soil, but at least that game is going to be not 9:30 in the morning. I'm sure it's probably going to be a Monday night. What date is that? November 22nd. No, that's a Sunday. But they're not going to have that game at 9:30 in the morning. I mean, Mexico City is 2 hours behind here in New York. So, yeah, that's probably going to be who knows? There probably could be a night game. Vikings at Niners. Yeah, it'll probably be a Sunday night game off the top of my head, which for a Sunday night game, Vikings, me no like. But that's what you have with the international games. And then you have a couple other scenarios where we don't know Thanksgiving just yet. We don't know Christmas yet. We don't know about any of those games. But you do have the first Thursday, or the second Thursday night game, because the first Thursday it was going to be the Niners and Rams. But the week after, the 17th, Amazon is going to host the first game at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, where the Lions will invade Orchard Park. And we'll get to see what that new palace looks like. And remember, they have that, it's not enclosed, but they have the, however you want to call it, they put a barrier on the top of the stadium to control the wind. So instead of it being a fully open air stadium, there is an overhang to where it's going to block some of the wind and protect those, I guess, even when it snows. Now, the whole middle of it's open. So if it's going to snow, it's going to rain, it's going to hit the field. But, yeah, you want to have all the elements. Part of playing in Buffalo is the wind, the snow, all that. Part of that home field advantage. You're not going to have that now. So week 2, you have that game. Now, let me see. Has any other games been leaked out before I move on to other things? Let's see. No, that's it. NFLPA players want grass fields like World Cup. Yeah, they should have instead of that synthetic grass. And it's not AstroTurf, but yeah, that's all they got there. Oh yeah, and Philly is going to play in Dallas on Thanksgiving, the 4:30 game. That's been announced, which no shock. You figured they were going to go division. That first game, the Lions will host an AFC team, and then you have the NBC games that night. So. All right, so that's what you have there. Let's get to some comments. Yeah, very good, Val. Yep, Pats, Lions, Colts, Commanders. You got it. Yep. 6 months removed from Terry's A. Yep, Michael Penix. Yep, I saw that too. And George Hill doing well as recovery. That's good. It's good for you guys. All right. Let me get to these next couple of things. 3 things I want to discuss. One also has to do with the podcast. PGA Championship begins tomorrow outside of Philadelphia, second major of the golf season. We know what happened there last month, Rory McIlroy in Augusta. It's funny, when the PGA shifted their schedule, PGA used to be played in August as of, I think, maybe 7-8 years ago. Yeah, maybe somewhere between 7 and 9 years ago. And at first, I said, oh, you know what? I kind of like that, because then that means you'll have a major in every month consecutively. Obviously, next month's the U.S. Open, Father's Day weekend, and you have the Open Championship the month after that. But now, as we've gotten used to it for almost a decade, I can't stand it. I'd rather have it in August. That at least there's a bit of a pause. Let the Masters. It's almost as if, listen, it's been a month. It's not like they're playing it the following week. I get it. But I just feel that if you put the PGA back in August, it spreads out your Grand Slam season, number one. Number two, I mean, think about this. By the time you get to Father's Day next month, you got one more tournament left for the remainder of the year, and that's the following month. After that, nobody cares about golf. I don't want to hear about FedEx Opens. There's no Ryder Cup this year. Nothing. Nonsense. To me, it's about the majors. I understand earlier this year you had the Players' Championship, and you had some of the others like the Waste Management Open, the Bay Hill, the Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer Invitational. All I get it. Those aren't majors. The majors are what counts here. Similar to tennis, where you have the French Open that's going to start this coming weekend. But I wish they could revert it, put it back to August. I don't know what they could do to do that. I'm sure they're going to look at it like, right now, we want it this way. I can't stand it. And it's not because I don't like the tournament. I've talked about this before. Out of the 4 majors, that's the 4th one. And again, PGA Tour, PGA Championship, understood, but nothing's beating the Masters. Nothing's beating the Open, which is formerly the British. And then you have the U.S. Open. PGA is up the track. So might as well be up the track in August, to where it's a slow sports month. Not a lot going on. You got a lot of baseball. I get it. You have for those who are into the exhibition football, preseason, not me. And college football on the horizon, I get that. But August is a snooze of a month. That's when we get into the second sports dead zone. Can we put it back there? God, at least we have something to hang our head on in the middle of August to watch, follow, other than watching the Little League World Series. I mean, come on. PGA, can we get it together? So that begins tomorrow. I'll talk about that more on the podcast tomorrow. And then I don't know what's with these horses of late, or really it's not the horse themselves. It's the trainers and the owners. Golden Tempo out of the Preakness, which is Saturday. And I understand it's not in Pimlico. It's in another racetrack. But part of the allure of the Triple Crown of racing is that whomever wins the Derby has a shot to win that next race. And I mean, please, this isn't anything out of school. It's common sense, it's obvious. But when you pull the Derby winner away from the Preakness, be like, oh, no, 2 weeks. It's not enough time for him to recover. But we'll be back for the Belmont, which is not in the Belmont. It's in Saratoga. Belmont's under construction. I believe it'll be open next year. But you just took all the starch out of the Triple Crown, or potential Triple Crown. And now you're probably going to have what? Off the top of my head, it's probably going to be no more than 10 horses that are going to be in the field. And then for the Belmont, that's probably going to be 8 to 10 horses, which is a joke because there should be a minimum. And I believe there is, but when you go from a field of 20 and you cut that almost in half, and then by the time you get to the Belmont with no Triple Crown potential winner in sight, you got nothing. And this is their only time that anybody on this planet, or at least in the States, are going to pay attention to horse racing. From the first Saturday of May to the first Saturday in June. And when you take out that winner, and people say, Jay Rose, you know what you're talking about. You don't talk about horse racing. What do you know about the ponies, this, that? Well, what I do know is that prior to the last, 5-7 years, when horses won the Derby, they were there at the Preakness because they're going for history. American Pharoah, anyone? And that was what, 2018? Let me look that up real quick. And he may not have been the last one. Who was the last horse? Justify, 2018. American Pharoah, I believe, may have been 2015, or maybe, hold on. List. This is all you need to know. American Pharoah was 2015. Well, at least I got that one right. So Justify was the last one. So pretty much since then, and that's going now, like I said, last 5-7 years, it's going to be 8 years. These horses that win the Derby say, I'm punting. Oh, the horse is going to be ready. Oh, 2 weeks, not enough time. Blah, blah. Well, it seemed to be enough time for all these horses prior to 2018. And I get it that they're investments, the whole nine. And this is why the sport, no one cares. Unless you're a degenerate gambler or even a gambler for that matter, those are the only people that care. And I've already said my piece 2 weeks ago on the podcast where I talked about just my stance on horse racing, et cetera. And I'm not going to get on that soapbox, but I tell you, for them to pull their horse here, it just ruins the sport. Ruins it. If Golden Temple went out there and lost, all right, fine. You deal with it. You live with it. You're not going to have as much juice going into the Belmont if Golden Temple were to race and lose, but you got no juice going into this race because the Derby winner isn't there. I hate it. Hate it. So that's what you got with the horse racing. And then Saturday night, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. I didn't put up a graphic, but I am interested in this Ronda Rousey, Gia Carano MMA bout Saturday night. I know Saturday's going to be a busy day for me. I got my mom is in town. I got lunch with her. I'm getting together with an old friend of mine. I'm trying to reconnect with him that we haven't spoken in years. And that's dinner. I'm sure that fight won't be until about 11. I should be back by 11. But I do want to watch that, and I hope to get to watch it. I don't want to try to dig it up on YouTube somewhere, but let's see how that goes. Rousey, of course, making a return to MMA. I saw a clip of an interview how that divorce was nasty between her and the sport several years ago. But something to watch, something to look forward to this weekend. And I know it was brought to my attention. Who brought that up the other day? I think it was last week in the chat. Was it Mark Salmons? Shout out to you and Hal Morris. But, yeah, so there's that I certainly want to get into. And then I want to talk about the podcast real quick. Podcast tomorrow. The wife will be home. So I don't know if I'm going to start. I'm going to shoot for 11, and she knows that. I don't know if I'm going to be sitting here at the sports desk or I'm going to be on the sofa. Who knows? But it's quite possible that my last live podcast will be tomorrow. I say that because, and I love doing the live podcast, I do, but I've just recently done an audit on the channel. And the long form content, although I've gotten views, but it has not helped as far as the analytics from a standpoint of click-through rate, even subscribers. And the subscribers are still going up slowly but surely, which is a great thing. But I'm trying to get those watch hours. And I thought that the long content would help, but I get it. There's not a lot of people that want to sit and hear me babble for an hour or 2 hours on a live stream. And I understand to you diehards. That's not to say I'm not going to have the podcast at all. But it's probably going to be, it's going to go back to it being recorded and then posted. But I will still chop that up and have it as shorts on the channel. And as far as the podcast go, that's not going to be on the channel either. Even the recorded ones that I did prior to, I think it was right around the Super Bowl. Because again, I'm trying to optimize this channel to the point where it's going to be a lot more efficient. The algorithm, when they see the long format stuff and it doesn't take off, that it just lays pretty much in purgatory. Where the shorts, obviously we know we live in a bite-sized, fast-pitch softball type of world where people will just want to digest their sports in nuggets. And that's not to say, again, the podcast will still be on video, be on Spotify, and I'll have the shorts here on the channel. But again, just trying to maximize and optimize the channel to the best of its ability. The shorter format, the shorts, and I know I need to pump out more shorts, and even the long form content of 5 to 15, maybe even 20-minute videos, the commentary stuff. That's what I want to do. In fact, I'm working on another one that I'm got to release tomorrow because it's an anniversary of an event that took place back in the 80s that I'm going to work feverishly to get up hopefully by 12 noon tomorrow. So I got my work cut out for me. On top of Friday, where the latest, as I could segue that, new video on the channel Friday at noon. And there's your question. If MLB lockout takes the 27th season, will fans come back in 28? And I'll also be out at Citi Field Friday prior to Mets-Yankees. I'm thinking between 3 to 6, maybe 4 to 6. Because I want to get back home, watch the game, etc. So when you have me going out there to ask more questions for more content and different questions, not the ones that you've seen recently, I got a whole other string. I may do the sports is rigged because that's always a lightning rod for controversy especially for those who gamble. But I got some others that I'm going to throw out there and try to get as many responses as possible. So a lot of content forthcoming. And that's the type of content I'm looking to concentrate on. Also looking to do a bit of a shift when it comes to some of the content. I'm sure you've probably seen some of the thumbnails I've really elevated recently. Should have been doing that a long time ago. I know, a terrible job on my part. But with that, better titles, better thumbnails, better descriptions, all that. And the podcast, I know I talked about the separate channel, which I still may go that route. I don't know how popular that's going to be because our people to a new channel, are they going to want to sit and watch an hour of me talk or an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes talk? I don't know. Yeah, if I was a lot more popular, if I was a lot more of a household name, maybe. But even then, I'm sure a lot of people want the bite-sized nuggets. Oh, what did Jay Reels have to say about Victor Wembanyama in the elbow? Oh, what did Jay Reels have to say about whatever, the international schedule for the NFL? So therefore, it's a thing where after tomorrow, I may make that shift. And of course, I'll notify everybody come Monday, podcast pregame, on whether or not, and chances are I'm going to do that because I want my channel to, as you know, to prosper, to grow. And there are times where I'm going to have to make pivots, changes, hopefully for the better. And in this case, with a lot more content that I have coming down the pike, on top of doing more shorts through the podcast. And this is based on this audit that I just recently got for the channel where I got a bit of a perusal and I'll say, hey, yeah, try this route and see what it does. And I'm just now a little bit more than 200 watch hours. I just looked yesterday. I'm a little more than 200 watch hours away from monetizing this channel. And I get it. The algorithm's not going to take an hour-long format and pump it out there the way they would with shorts or the other content. Last week, I put up that there's baseball need a salary cap. And even though it's slowed down now, but the first 5 days, it got, respectable amount of views. I mean, it didn't get hundreds and hundreds or thousands, but some of the other ones that I put out, I barely got cracked 100 or got into the 70s or whatever, which is fine. So now with this little bit of an adjustment, I just want to clue you guys and gals that tomorrow could be, and in all likelihood will be, my final live podcast. Now, I still want to do the live streams Wednesday. And even though I want to make a pivot for that too, I want to do more in the PM. So that you'll know well ahead of it in advance. And for those who've been banging with me, you know I appreciate you guys and gals to the fullest. That here it is, whether you're at work, school, in the middle of stuff, traveling, to appointments, things of that nature, and you got me on your phone, or if you're watching me on your TV or tablet, whatever, you already know. The appreciation is, I can't even put it to words how much I appreciate you guys. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at here over the next few days. And I'll get to the comments, maybe get some thoughts, etc. Hey, Mark Salmon's in the house. Okay. Oh, yeah, and you're right about that too. Hold on, let me get back to, all right, here we go. Josh Giddey. Okay. Yep, with the Bulls by way of Oklahoma City. Yes, it does. And I'll get into that too once we get into the month of June. I mean, it starts what, the 11th? No. Yeah, I think it's the 11th or 12th, I believe, World Cup begins. Yeah, so I'll get into that. I'll be well-versed, ready to go, break it down for you guys. The novice, what'd you miss? Let's see. I talked about the international games, which obviously you're playing in London against Jacksonville, which you did mention a few days ago. I talked about the Spurs, the only team that can beat Oklahoma City. Big time spotlight on Donovan Mitchell tonight. James Harden too, but more so Donovan Mitchell. Sabres showed you some gumption and fight that you want to see from a team that doesn't know anything about playoff hockey. The Hurricanes, they've been a juggernaut, although there's more competition in the NHL than it is for the NBA with the Oklahoma City Thunder, in my eyes. Baseball kind of in the clouds right now because with the tremendous start out of the gate, WBC start of the season, and now it's kind of cooled off, I think, quite considerably. Talked about how the Kentucky Derby winner is not going to race in the Preakness. Didn't like that. Talked about the firing of Daryl Morey in Philly. No surprise. A coach fired in Toronto. My guy, Craig Berube, shout out to him. And what else did I talk about? Oh, the PGA starts tomorrow. Second golf major of the year, but I talked about how the PGA needs to go back to August. So, yeah, I got a lot of things. A lot of stuff on the sports stove that I've been cooking here. Let's see. Hold on. History, reach out to Hal Moore. Oh, yeah, reach out to Hal Morris. All right, here we go. Will Smith. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they want to get ready for the season, although the season just ended for them. But still, Sharks not. Typo, autocorrect. No, that's all right, Val. Mark Salmons. Greetings. I did reach out to Hal Morris when? I can tell you right now. On Facebook, because I see him on Facebook. He could be on Twitter or some of the others. But I sent him a message inbox. Here we go. Two weeks ago. What was the date? April 22nd. 2 o'clock. In fact, it was right after the live stream. Because wait, 22nd, 29th? Yep. 2 weeks ago, today, 2:03 p.m. I can even read it off to you if you want. Just so you, Mr. Google Boy, think I'm fibbing or lying. And even though I didn't give you a shout out, but I gave you a shout out. Now, what the hell? Let's have some fun. Mr. Morris, how are you? First off, I want to wish all is well with you and yours upon receiving this. The reason for my note is that I'd love to have you as a guest on my sports podcast live stream that I host thrice, maybe not after tomorrow, weekly. The name of my podcast is the J Reels Podcast, moniker J Reels. I love to discuss your playing days. I'm 57, so I've seen you play the game today, what you've been up to, etc. Also, recently, somebody on my feed has said that you didn't play first base in the 1990 World Series, so I'd love to surprise him. I did say this, and shut him up if you were to be a contributor to my program. Here's the link to my YouTube channel. What do you say? My time is flexible as I do this full time. It'd be an honor and pleasure. Can we schedule a time and date? Thank you for taking the time out to read this. I do hope to hear from you in the near future. Take care. Regards, Jay. So, yeah, if you know Hal Morris, tell him to hit me up. Oh, is that right, Zip? Going to the game? Oh, now that I think about who are the Yankees pitching this weekend? Wait. Well, they're going to pitch Carlos Rodon one of those games, which I guess it's not a bad thing. Well, Freddie Peralta will pitch Sunday, but there may be a rain out tomorrow because it's supposed to be ugly in New York tomorrow. All right, so then that is, because McClain's going to pitch this series. I wish he pitched against the Yanks, though. Although if it rains out, they may push him to Friday. Here are your matchups. Mets, Yanks. Whoa. Cam Schlittler versus Clay Holmes. Hold your breath. That game has 7 innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts for Schlittler. Let me repeat that. And Clay Holmes facing his former team for the first time. Oh, good. And he's pitched well, so I can't knock him. Saturday, which will be a Fox game, Carlos Rodon versus undecided. And then Sunday, which is not a night game, NBC, not ESPN, Ryan Weathers versus Freddie Peralta. Yeah, undecided. So to me, if I had to take a guess, that would most likely be. All right, so you have Peralta, Christian Scott, Nolan McClain, Clay Holmes, undecided, and then Peralta. I don't know. Depends on what Dave Peterson. I mean, please, I've seen enough of him. But anyway. Yeah, Hal Morris makes Mark. Yes, very good, Val. Val. Be nice, Mark. Come on, don't say whatever your name is. You know who Val is. If you were played today, 2 against Sparks, WNBA. Is that game in LA? You up to Val? Let's see. Zip. Yeah, nighttime. Whoop, hang on. She'll put, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking of doing that. You're in school right now, Jay? Oh, are you? My first name is Valeria. Since I was born in Ukraine, the translator wrote my name with 2. Oh, is that right? Yeah, Val's good. Valeria Boyko. All right. I like that. Cool. Yeah. J-Rod, greetings. I know she came on here earlier and she said, I'm good, I guess. And I did make a mention that, are you all right? Not that I expected her to tell her what's going on, but yes. Thoughts, prayers, condolences. Oh, I should say condolences. I take that back. Let me take my fishing rod and reel that in. My apologies. Because every time I say thoughts, prayers, I always think of condolences. So J-Rod, please forgive me. And Fishing Angel too. Sending well wishes, positive thoughts, energy, etc. to you, Fishing Angel, to you, J-Rod, kids, everybody. And you know I mean that sincerely. And my apologies once again for the slip up. All right, Mark, can we be nice? Can we be nice? He did receive it? Oh, I guess you spoke to him then. Yeah. All right. So I was born there, went to Florida and West Palm Beach, Cape Coral. Look at Val. Val, you're such a good sport. Holmesworth Slittler. Oh, I know. That's yeah. She got the breast cancer scare the other day. Oh, geez. Well wishes to you all, and obviously to Fishing Angel. Yeah, that's not any news that anybody wants to get. That's for damn sure. Yes, indeed, Zip. 100%. Question is, will Jay admit he's wrong? Oh, geez. We're going to go through that again. Listen, if I get him on and we talk about that, and no AI, I don't know if you could maybe, who knows, he may be in a lab crafting up an AI Hal Morris, and he's going to program him to say, I did not play in the World Series back in 1990. No, I did play for the Cincinnati Reds, but I did not. No, I don't want to hear that. I want live, correct, direct, and full effect. Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know what time you're thinking of getting there, because I'm going to be there early and listen, you can be a part of the questions and the festivities for the channel. But yeah, I definitely will do that. I do have your number, don't I? I know you sent it to me a while ago. Let's see. Yeah, I have it. Hold on. Nope, not there. Yeah, no, I know I have your number. I know you had sent it to me a while ago. So, no, I'll definitely make sure, man, to hit you up. So, yeah, so that's what I got cooking, people. That is what is going on. That is what's happening. Let's see anything else pop up here over the last whatever it's been. Oh, what is this? It's a spending requirement that foreign visitors from certain countries pay as much as $15,000 if they're confirmed ticket holders. Yeah, what? Let me look at the World Cup schedule. Yeah, because I know a lot of games are at MetLife. I didn't realize there was so many games. I think there's like 6 or 7 of them. Yeah, June 11th. Here we go. Final. Yeah, we know that's in MetLife, which is a disaster. I mean, that stadium is. Ugh. Semifinals are in Jerry's World, and they call it Dallas Stadium, Atlanta Stadium. Could you call it what the name of the stadium is? I mean, this is what you call it anyway, but. All right, match schedule. Here we go. So Thursday, June 11th, the first 2 games are in Mexico. Then you got Toronto, BMO Field. Is that where the Argonauts play? Toronto Argonauts, right? Isn't that team? Because Montreal Alouettes. Then United States, Paraguay, they play at SoFi. June 13th, they play at MetLife, Brazil versus Morocco. Then Santa Clara, Foxborough. Sunday, they got games all over the place. Vancouver, Houston, Arlington, the Link, and Mexico. Monday, Mercedes-Benz, Lumen Field, Seattle. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, and SoFi. Tuesday, MetLife again. Gillette Stadium and Arrowhead. Wednesday, Levi's NRG Stadium in Texas. That's the Houston Texans. BMO, Toronto, and then in Mexico City. Yeah, what the hell's BMO Field? And then, let's see. Yeah, Mercedes-Benz, SoFi, Vancouver. No, another Saturday game or Sunday. Yeah, so they're just going to rotate in all these stadiums. All right, I got it. Yeah, World Cup. Yeah, I'll be on top of that. For sure. Yeah, that's about it. You got some afternoon baseball. Yanks playing the Orioles. No score, top 2. And then Guardians up 1-0 on the Angels, who have been awful. And, of course, tonight, NBA, Detroit, Cleveland at 8. And then Colorado, Minnesota at 8 for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And that'll do it, my good people. All right, here we go. Let's see. Oh, I see some comments. How many times did I tell you to watch the 4-game sweep? You obviously didn't. I did, but I did watch it, and we did have it here. And trust me, no need to go there again, Mark. Yes, you're welcome, Fishing Angel. 100%. God forbid is the C word. I'm sure if I would everything she has. Yes, without question, guys. No doubt. 100%. Yeah, here we go. We're going to start with that again, Mark. Yes. 100%. Yes, all the love here. Didn't have a better bat than Todd. What would you like to see from the Steelers this year? What would make a good season in your eyes? What would It's a good question. Yeah, I'm tired of the 10-7, 9-8 years. I'd like to see how the schedule, how it's going to look. The Steelers play the NFC South. They go to Philadelphia. Not good. That's the extra game. They also play the AFC South too. Wait, let me think about that for a second. Yeah, I believe they play the AFC South this year because obviously they play the Saints. So they play in Tampa, and then Atlanta and Carolina come to Pittsburgh. Yeah. Listen, I would sign up 12-5. But remember, Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. If he stays healthy the whole year and he stays upright and he's not going to get sacked a million times, the defense. Listen, I say 12-5. I'm not saying they're going to go 12-5, but I know you asked me what would make a good season in my eyes. That would be it. Maybe 11-6. Oh, I know, Steelers. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's good. Good to see. Bio, yes, that's a good one. He didn't play first base. Let's say, yeah, we know, Mark. No, and you're right. I did not watch it. I didn't see the first inning home run off of Dave Stewart. I didn't see the final game that Saturday. I'll never forget. Saturday, October 20th, 1990. Went on a company picnic at the time. Came back, got home, and watched the end of that World Series. It was a Saturday night because remember, I started Tuesday. So you play Tuesday, Wednesday, day off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And yeah, it was a beatdown. Making steak, loaded baked potatoes, package. Oh, that sounds good. Super Bowl bust for the Rams, Super Bowl SoFi. Yep. Yeah, I would say the same thing. It is Super Bowl or bust for you guys. Of course, with moves this offseason, obviously Trent McDuffie. Maybe not Ty Simpson, but here we go. Watch clips. Yes, you're right. He did not play the field in the game, but he, based on what I saw, he did play the field. And what Biles saw and what J-Rod saw, and that's it. Won't say anything else about it, I promise. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. Obviously, a lot going on in sports. A lot happening. Let me see. Does that start Sunday? It usually starts Monday, but. And listen, in the French Open, the men's side is going to be no Carlos Alcaraz. That is a Monday, so it's going to start Monday. That's what I thought. No, yeah, the main draw actually starts Sunday. Oh, so next week. That's why I said, yeah, because they're doing the qualifying competition is this coming week. Today's the 13th, so the 18th is when? 18th is a Monday, so they're going to play that week. So then the following week, the 24th. Wow, they're actually going to start Memorial Day weekend, and then it ends June 7th, and then Wimbledon starts at the end of that month. I feel like they're moving it up year after year. Yeah, but Jannik Sinner, I mean, is anybody going to really watch? It's probably going to be Sinner and Djokovic. Hopefully they put Djokovic on the other side of the draw, because if they do that, then they got something. But if not, forget it. We have to say for the Lions to play for fans to win the playoffs. Lose his job. Yeah, if they don't make the playoffs, I think he could get fired. Yeah, they gotta have a big year. They got to. Maybe not, what was it, 15-2 2 years ago, but yeah, if they're 10-7, 9-8, and they don't get in or make it, but they're one and done, yeah, it's not going to be good. And it did play out on first base. All right, Mark. All right. Lions, Rams. That'd be interesting. Now, we saw them play in the playoffs a couple of years ago when Stafford went back to Detroit. But chances are that game may be at SoFi, unless somehow, some way, the Lions have the tiebreaker. But I'd like to see that. Mark, you're relentless, but I'm not posting your comments. And I do not believe you. Let's get Hal Morris on. In fact, maybe I should hit reply all to that. What you call it that I said? Oh, what else is happening here? Hold on. All right. Rams Lions for beating them in the playoffs a couple seasons ago. And that was a great game, too. And Stafford was, he was valiant. Should have got a personal foul. That one roughing the passer call. That wasn't called. Yeah, that was a great game. Oh, man, that Lion team, they should have gone to the Super Bowl that year. That was their year. Mark, I disagree. Said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 20 million times. All right. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's that just about do it. I got a few more minutes, people, only because right before 2, I know I'm gonna have a visitor. The super's coming by. He's got to fix something in the ceiling. It's like starting to fall apart there. Jeez. Yeah, I'm on ESPN.com right now just to see some of these things. Perk. Wemby is already the most dominant player in basketball. Listen, I can't disagree with you on that. That doesn't mean he's the best player in the sport or will win the MVP. And Stephen A. Wemby is the future of the NBA, not going anywhere. Tell us something that we don't know. I've been saying that, maybe not in those words, but even going back to the NBA preview in October. You guys know, check those receipts. Who did I say was going to be the most important person in the NBA this year? Case closed. And he's going to be the face of the league if, big if, he stays healthy. Oh, as a matter of fact, I'm still waiting to hear back. Let me throw this in there. I checked this yesterday. They actually had a video up. Not my video. Still waiting to hear back from House of Highlights. And let's see. Yeah, I know I got that NBA trivia one I want to check out. Yeah, it just released one a couple of days ago. I think it was yesterday, but it wasn't the one. No, nothing yet. Yeah, I'm waiting to see the ones that I'm in so I could send to you guys. So you can get a peek and check it out for yourself. Oh, no, that's not it. I'm bouncing around all over the place. All right. Yeah, I'm not bore you with this. I'm just trying to find stuff, but now's not the time to do that. I'm on with you guys. But let's see. Anything else you guys got to get off your chest? What's on your mind? What's going on? What's happening? All that good stuff. Let me go back to the comments. Oh, who do I see in the room? All right. Let's jazz it up. Lions lost in 2020. Oh, yeah. Was your fault. How was that your fault? Fuqua. Greetings, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai, Cowie Boy Bull, Dad Chips, Everyday Mets, Jonathan Sean Cup. Oh, of course, wrote a pen mark. Yes, they did. And he needed to get fired. Obviously, I vented about that on Monday. And it came true. Let's see. The date of 23 days, it was that's right. But how was it your fault, though? Excuse me. Yes, I do remember that movie, The Super Joe Pesci. Yeah. Even though my super's not Italian, he's a young guy. But, here we go. You trade away? I would not. You have to take that contract back. And his health is dependable as a rip condom. Hate to be a little graphic in that description, but it's the truth. But then again, Mitchell Robinson can't stay healthy, but he's certainly not Embiid. And Anunoby's a guy that we see with his hamstring. He's not healthy either. So, all right, Mark, here we go. Was his rookie season, by the way? You're talking about Hal Morris. Now, Hal Morris was a Yankee farmhand. He may have come up with a cup of coffee for the Yanks. And if so, that may have been. Now, remember, Don Mattingly played first. Nobody was taking his spot. Maybe, I don't know, 88, 89. I have to look that up, but I won't because I know what you're going to say. Oh, thank you, Fishing Angel. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah. It's scary. Strong was going to fight. Yeah, absolutely. Without question. And no, that's where, you get news like that. That's where your mortality really kicks in. And you think about all the stuff that you've done, not you per se, but generally speaking over the years, whether it's the drinking, the drugs, the late nights, partying. Yeah, just, but if there is anyone that's going to get through it, it's definitely you. I have all kinds of stuff, Neon Dion. Get plenty on that character. Neon Dion. Primetime himself. What's this Fishing Angel? Asked me if I could pick. So you picked the national championship. I'm gonna. Oh, wait. You picked the Lions, and that's why you feel like it's your fault. Correct? Hang on, as I'm dropping stuff over here. All right. Yeah, listen, that's tough. I like this one. It's coming up, the next one, bio. Let's see what will happen. Favorite comedian of all time? Listen, I love that 5 or 6 year stretch of Eddie Murphy. Delirious, Raw. I mean, how could you not? But to me, my favorite comedian of all time, and I understand it's going to be more of a recency bias. I love Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is one of my all-time faves. But Eddie Murphy, too. But I'm sorry, I think the GOAT is Dave Chappelle. His way, his storytelling, how he uses, it's like he sets you up. And I understand people are like, oh, do I got to wait 20 minutes to get a punchline? Nah, but that's what a great, and listen, not that I'm Mr. analytical when it comes to comedians. But when a comedian's great, if he's telling a story and he has you captivated, and then he throws those zingers or he throws those punchlines in there and he throws you off, that's brilliant. I mean, how many F-bombs, how many of this, and they all curse, which I get it. I'm not trying to make me, I want a prude comic. But I hate to call this guy out, but Cat Williams, and I understand more so lately, he's been a guy that's like, he's always been honest and raw with his feelings, whatever. And I like that. I like transparency. You know that. But I've watched his specials. My thing is, the next joke that he says that makes me laugh will be the first. I don't think Cat Williams is funny at all. At least the whole special. Maybe I know he had a recent one not too long ago. And I guess, I don't know. Does anybody want to talk about this roast the other night? Kevin Hart, who I don't know how you people feel. Kevin Hart is the most overrated. That's another one. The first joke that makes me laugh is going to be the next joke that makes me laugh is going to be the first. I don't think he's funny at all. I don't think his movies are funny. I don't think he's funny. He's like a clown. See, like Dave Chappelle is just like and Chris Rock is excellent too, because he's another one. And I think back to his last special. Was it Tambourine, that last one? I think it was. No, I think it was the one before. The last one was, he talked about the Will Smith thing. And he was great in that. Tambourine, I thought he was great in that. If everybody watched Chris Rock and Tambourine, how he talked about, hey, in life, as I'm getting a phone call, and that's a super too. You want to get a live, correct, and full effect? Here we go, ready? Jonathan, what's going on? All right. I know you got something to do between 3 and 4. Yes. So I don't want to cut into that time. All right. Can I pass by at 4 instead? That's fine. Or give me 5 after 4 just to be safe. But I'll be home. I'll call you. Or you call me. All right, sounds good. I'll 100% be able to do it today. All right, no problem. All right, thanks, Jonathan. All right, bye. I had to get that. That was the super. So, yeah, he's going to come at 4 o'clock, which is good because I got to run an errand for the missus between 2 and 3. So I was going to do that at 4 o'clock, but now I could maneuver. Yeah, Kevin Hart, please. Oh, going back to Chris Rock. Yeah, I love what he said about the tambourine coming out. Hey, in life, especially when you're in a relationship or married, there are going to be days where, yeah, you're going to be the guy that's the singer. You're going to be playing the guitar. All right, hey, it's my show, but there's going to be other times where you're going to be the guy in the background playing the tambourine. I thought that was clever. And, yeah. But, yeah, Eddie Murphy, I love, yeah, Richard Pryor. Carlin, I think, is excellent, too. But, yeah, Dave Chappelle, I mean, I love Chappelle. What's this? Going by, who's yours by? I'm curious. Going by Beckett. Beckett, that's actually the old card. Going by Beckett. I think of like the book where you get the prices for the baseball cards and stuff. James knows I'm not a troll. Yeah, how about trolling tendencies, maybe? Which I am, but factual, yes. Of course, no debate. I picked Michigan National Championship if they won in the Lions didn't make the Super Bowl. I figured it was that, but I thought maybe because you said it was your fault, but I understand. From that regard, Jay. Patriots 7th-round rookie was charged with domestic assault. Oh, yeah, I saw that. NFL, the only league where players can assault, do all this, kill people, run all this, and no one skips a beat. They still watch the games, and the ratings are through the roof. That's another reason I could pound the NFL. And I get it. There are more players on the NFL roster than Major League Baseball or the NBA or National Hockey League. But NFL, I mean, please, you can go, the laundry list of, I mean, going back to, who was the kid that, and it's funny, he was on the Rams too, St. Louis, Leonard Little, struck and killed 2 people while driving a car. Dante Stallworth, remember him? Patriots. Driving on the Causeway, which I've driven a million times in Miami, struck and killed somebody because he was partying in South Beach and like 6 a.m. hit somebody on the road. I mean, come on, what are we doing? Martin Lawrence, and you know what? I love You So Crazy. Is that what's the name of it? You So Crazy? Yeah, that was a great stand-up. Martin Lawrence. Yeah. I had told Craig and them I'm gonna kick it with them. That was funny. Yeah, and that was peak Martin Lawrence. That was right before, that was right, I guess, when he started. That was 94. Martin, the show came out, what, 95, 97, somewhere around there? Yeah, he was great. What happened to nice weather? Well, I do know you're right about that fishing angel, even here in New York City. Saturday's supposed to be mid-70s, and then after that, from Sunday, I think, through Wednesday, is going to be mid to upper 80s. So, yes. I rejoice. I'm still going out with jackets. Listen, I understand that. I'm not expecting it to be 75 every day starting last week. But yeah, the weather's been weird. I mean, since I've come back from Guatemala, I think there was one day I went out without a jacket. I mean, come on. This is my 9th day back. Let's see. I Grieve Dave came out with the Chappelle Show on fire, and it's still funny stand up. Oh, no. Jay, I'm with you, man. Chappelle is just, he's brilliant. 46 cold, gloomy, windy. Oh, geez. Yeah, here it's not. I think we're supposed to hit 70. I'll look at that real quick. Right now it's 68, but it feels like 61. Come on, what garbage is that? And tomorrow 65 is going to rain all day. Oh, no, that's going to rain on and off, it says. Yeah, but it's going to be crappy. Ugh. Yeah, here you go. Ready? Saturday, 76 and sunny. Sunday, 84 sun and clouds. Monday, 78. Oh, now they changed this. Monday, 78 and sunny. Tuesday, 87 sunny. 92 Wednesday. But just in typical New York fashion. So it's going to be 92 a week from today. And then 2 days later on Friday, it's going to go to 68 degrees. I mean, come on. And that's going to be the start of Memorial Day weekend. Where was Cat Williams born? Was it Cincinnati? And Dave Chappelle lives where? Yeah, Yellow Springs, Ohio. That I know. Oh, no. Is he born in? Yeah, I want to say Cincinnati, right? Cat Williams? That's my guess. Sharks doing well this offseason? Yeah, I haven't done much, though. There hasn't been a lot of trades, but I guess, resting up, training. I don't have a favorite comedian. You do not, Fishing Angel. I know who your favorite comedian is. Even I know this. It's the guy that's sitting right next to you, no? Cat and Dave are both Bengal fans. Is Yellow Springs close to Cincinnati? I would think it is, no? Mark would know that. Doing good this offseason? Yeah, I know you mentioned something about him working out there, Val. Was that Mr. Drummond on the phone call? Yeah. No, that was Bookman. Remember that? And remember, Mr. Drummond was the rich guy that lived in the penthouse where his two adopted kids, Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges, but Bookman was the super on Good Times. Rookie season. He's an Eagles fan, so he gets a pass. Did I miss something? What's going on here? All right. All right, love in the room. I love it. Oh, here we go. What's your most painful loss? My Dodgers, the Astros. My most painful loss as a fan? Bio, how dare you? You know what it is. I say that in jest. Oh, look at this. I like that, Danavis. I know you sent me this photo. 86, 89, 90, 90, 88, 80, 90, 90, 91, 93. Oh, man, where do I sign up for that? Where do I sign up for that? Hold on, give me one more second here. All right. Which one is more painful? Let me think. If I had to weigh the two losses of the 88 Met loss to the Dodgers or the 94 AFC Championship game between the Chargers and Steelers, only because of the immediacy of it, only because of the immediacy of it, I'd say Chargers Steelers. Because Met Dodgers, when you're watching that game 7, and I think they scored 5 runs in the 3rd inning off of Ron Darling and or Hershiser's pitching. So to me, that was death by 1,000 paper cuts. Where Chargers Steelers, oh my God, that. And I talked about that, as you know, on the vlog. I vlogged that back in the anniversary was January 15th. Yeah, that had to be the most painful loss. Not the Super Bowl loss against the Cowboys, not the Super Bowl loss against Green Bay. That one, because, and that's chronicled. It's detailed in that whole thing. If you haven't watched it, please do. But, but Mets Dodgers right behind it because, well, here's the thing. The difference between, and this is where you can weigh it, because that Met loss set the franchise back 2 decades. Nah, that's too strong. A decade, because they did make it to the World Series 12 years after that. But it set them back. Next year, they traded Dykstra. They traded Mookie. Yeah, it was a disaster. And the Steelers, they went back to the Super Bowl the following year, lost to the Cowboys. And then they had their heartache after that. 97 against the Broncos, 01 against the Pats, 04 against the Pats before finally winning a Super Bowl. But yeah, that would be my most. And yours at 20, yeah, Astros, yeah, that's rough. As we've talked about before, of course. Thank you, Donavis, yes. Bernie Mac, one of the greats. Mr. Milk and Cookies himself. Oh, yeah, classic. Oh, Dayton. Schneider, One Day at a Time, yes. Pat Harrington, the actor, I remember. And Donavis, to go back to this, yeah, that bit that he had on Kings of Comedy, original Kings of Comedy, oh my God. Classic. You and me included. Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm open arms for the warm weather. And I haven't run since I was in Guatemala, which is bad. I got to change that soon. And not because when the weather gets nice either. It's even on days when it's cold, I got to get out there. Well, yeah, that was Chiefs Eagles, but was there something else that happened that day? Hey, now Leiter, what did he do to you? Nah, Leiter was a gamer though. Yeah, he was. When Michigan didn't win the national championship, that was horrible. Well, that TCU game, I know that was bad. Best sports moment? Oh, that's a good one there, Bio. It was such a long time ago. Yeah, a best sports moment was the Mets winning the 86 World Series because of enduring the pain of watching that team as a kid. Last place, they drew flies at Chase Stadium in the late 70s, early 80s. And then they came back to prominence, actually took over New York. I don't care what Yankee fan says. It was not a Yankee town between 84 and 88. And, yeah, that was it. Right behind that, yeah, 86 Celtics, I mean, I can't even say that because that was, I mean, and not to say 86 was improbable because of, they were literally an out away from losing a World Series, or really a strike away from losing a World Series. I have to say that. He's calling me back again. Oh, no, he's going to come now? I got to take this, guys. Hey, what's up? Oh, all right. That's fine. I'm sorry. No, it's all right. It's all good. No, you can come now. As long as yeah, because by 3:00 I have an appointment. So. Okay.
And we're going to see if it cauliflowers again. And if it does, then, we're going to have to open up and investigate.
All right, no problem.
All right?
All right, man. So I'll see you in a few. All right, so no problem. All right, thanks, man. All right, well, now I got to pull the plug. I had a feeling he was calling back, so let me get through these last few here. Yes, we were playing LA against Sparks. You're correct, Jay Reels, WNBA. Yes, today when Michigan won a national championship. Yep. And then, of course, we lost on the whole thing. Yeah, I know. That was a terrible call, and they should have never called it. I totally agree. All right, guys, I got to sign off. Tomorrow, podcast pregame. Yeah, I know the wife's going to be home. I may have to take it outside. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, tomorrow may be my final live podcast. I'll talk more about that too on the back end of the podcast. We'll get into that. But yes, have a great day, everyone. Absolutely. I will do that. Thank you, Fishing Angel. You already know the deal, people. In the blood and the DNA, talking sports since birth. Tremendous. Thank you so much for your unwavering love, support towards me, the channel, etc. Enjoy the rest of your hump day. I'll be back tomorrow to recap what's going to take place tonight, what's happening in the sports world. We'll see what happens also with the NFL schedule. We'll get into that. And then I'm Mark Sammons, who takes my call. And thank you, Fishing Angel. I appreciate you so much. And yes, all the best to you. Again, positive energy, thoughts, prayers, good vibrations. You know we're all in your corner. So until tomorrow, everybody, peace, love, and God bless. Until next time, on the flip.